Hi, how you doing? Kind of sore today. Yeah, my back is killing me. I gotta remember that.
Big change really is after you ring the bell, before whoever you are going to say.
I tell you what, here's what we need to do. No. Julia. Julia. We need to.
Hi, Carol.
Knock this out.
Well, let's go on County Wampus.
Right here.
One on the right. One on the right. The one on the right.
Where's my t-shirt?
I don't see any numbers. Okay.
There's the countdown oscillator. So when that gets to zero, so this is going to do her prelude. Well, that takes 20 seconds. And then you'll see your slide that says the ringing of the bell.
I won't be here long because I only have a minute. But I love the music. I love that voice. It's so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Wanderer, worshiper, lover of living.
Before we begin our planned Sunday service, I ask you to join me in prayer, contemplation, meditation. Because of the Supreme Court decision overturning the 50-year established law of the land, declaring that abortion is not a right, we liberal religious people who believe that it's a woman's choice to control her body, including making the decision to terminate a pregnancy, whether for reasons of her own health, physical, mental, even financial, for reasons of planning for her family, or for whatever other personal reasons. We are upset, angry, outraged, feeling unrepresented and as if we are going back in time. Some of us will pledge to continue advocating for choice, for reproductive rights, for the right to choose abortion. Today, I bring a prayer written in support of the 1973 Roe versus Wade decision. Prayer Celebrating Choice by Reverend Krista Tavis, who is the Minister of Congregational Life at Elliott Unitarian Chapel in Kirkwood, Missouri. Please listen to these words and join me in spirit. Spirit of love and power, we are gathered today in beloved community that we might manifest in our lives the values and truths that we hold dear. Let us rejoice that we are together, for this time is holy time. The transformation we seek is holy work, and the bonds that hold us together are sacred. As we celebrate the landmark 1973 Roe versus Wade Supreme Court decision that gave women the right to make important decisions about their bodies, we would join in gratitude for all those who made this possible and continue to make this possible. The activists, the lawyers, the religious leaders, our elected leaders, and especially the healthcare professionals who risk their lives and live with increasing levels of intimidation and harassment because of their commitment to provide women the means to make the important choices for themselves and their families. We are grateful as well for all those ordinary men and women who sign petitions, who write our legislators and speak to our daughters and sons about what it means to be responsible and mature and to respect their own bodies and the bodies of others. We of the free church tradition know that choice is at the heart of our faith, that freedom of conscience is one of our cornerstones, and that we have been entrusted with the means and the faculties to make wise and loving and sometimes difficult decisions about the most important matters of life. We know that when we listen to the still small voice within, that we have met the sacred. And we know and trust that when women listen deeply to that still small voice, they are moral agents, and that every choice is a blessed choice, a manifestation of the sacred power of life that we are entrusted with. We would pray then not only for the continued freedom to do so, but that we might stand in reverence before the trust and responsibility that has been given to each of us. Let us teach each other and our children how to use well these sacred gifts that we may transform ourselves, our community, and our world. In the spirit of truth, compassion, and wholeness, this we pray. Amen. Blessed be, and let us enter into our Sunday service.
Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you.
Good morning. We welcome each of you to our service this morning. We are glad you are here. Special thanks to Melissa Jeter for providing music for today's service, as we're between music directors. Yeah. Thank you, Melissa. While we continue to search for a new church musician, if you are musically inclined, you're invited, like Melissa, to play an anthem or a hymn on Sundays or prepare the complete music for our service. If you are so interested, contact Reverend Tim if you'd like to perform or accompany on a Sunday this summer. Slots are still open. We're making adjustments in our COVID-19 procedures. We're stopping the sign-in practice for possible contact tracing, as it appears that in large part because of the vaccinations, though it seems more people are becoming infected. In general, we seem to be handling exposure better than in the past, and with the infections more common, the contacts aren't easily traced. We still have a COVID-19 crisis, and the pandemic, of course, is not over. Developments and changes in confronting the disease, including the availability of vaccines for our youngest people, have resulted in the First Unitarians COVID Task Force completing its work. And the Board of Trustees will be the lead policymaker again. As a result, as conditions call for it, the board will consult with knowledgeable people and trusted resources for advice and guidance. We urge you, if you haven't been vaccinated and boosted, please get the shots. They do make a difference. And while mask wearing is optional, it is added protection, and we encourage it. Plus, as we've urged since the beginning, please wash your hands and remember that we have immunocompromised people among us. Continue to take care in social interactions. The final installment of the Multi-Faith Council Northwest Ohio's free intergenerational multi-faith summer series, A Compassion Across the Faiths, continues this coming Thursday, June 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Temple Shomer Immunum. You're welcome to attend this event. Dinner is provided, and there are storytelling and age cohort faith discussions. Go to the multifaithcouncil.org to register for this event. Another multi-faith announcement, the Toledo Unitarians Multi-Faith Meditations, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Tuesdays, and held in alliance with Flowing Waters Sangha, has been on Zoom only for most of the pandemic. Beginning July 5th, they'll be both in person in the Carl Sagan Room, our church's meditation place, and continuing on Zoom, you're invited to sit with them and other meditators in the room or in cyberspace. And then finally, coming Saturday, July 2nd, I missed that one here. Let's see where it's at. Okay, oh wait, here we go. July 2nd will be the first Saturday of the month, so that means the Nitwits and Fiberwork orphans will meet here at First Unitarian. We don't have the exact hours. I don't have the exact hours, but it's late morning into the afternoon, and the church's bulletin says, quote, remember to bring a lunch and your drink, unquote, and quote, you must wear your mask, unquote. You're invited to be part of this Toledo Unitarians gathering. And then finally, the Sunday service of the Unitarian Universalist General Assembly will be shown here in the sanctuary today from 12:30 to about 2 p.m. These are the announcements, and now I will start with our opening words. Opening words I share today are from Jason, or by Jason Cook, entitled The Great Teachers in Life. We seekers are on a quest to discover truth and meaning. Sometimes we think we've found it, wrapped up glimmering with newness, straight off the intellectual assembly line, all the answers right here for us and others if they'd only listen. But truth has a way of coming in disguise, sometimes wearing rags and sometimes finery, but so often cloaked from our immediate sight. And sometimes that which we have rejected, that which we have let go or decided was only for others, not for us, can be our teacher. Let our time of worship be an acknowledgement of the never-ending journey toward truth and meaning, and our appreciation of those we learn from on the way.
And now, as Joe lights our chalice, I bring these words, Open to Unexpected Answers by Julianne Lepp. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths. And if you'd please join me in reciting our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And our opening hymn today is number 89, Come My Way, My Truth, My Life.
My truth, my life, such a way that gives us breath, such a truth that ends our strife, such a life that's healeth death. My light, my feast, my strength, such a light that shows a feast, such a feast that mends our strength, such a vein that makes a guess. Oh, my joy, my love, my heart, such a joy as none can move, such a joy as such a heart as joys in love. It's a little rock and roll, people.
The story for today focuses on the wheel of the year in paganism, and I'm sharing this because we recently had the summer solstice this week. It's called The Goddess and the God, and it's by Mary K. Isaacs. Come with me on a journey that is as old as time itself. Repeated so often, the earth knows the rhythm and follows it like a cosmic dance. First steps of the dance take us to October 31st, Samhain or Halloween. Why does the dance start here? Because here are both of the greatest events in any individual's life. Here lies death, the great God dies. But here also lies the potential for new life. The goddess sleeps, pregnant with the unborn new God. Death is not a bad thing. If the God did not die, he could not be reborn. The great God Spirit is not the only one that is turned loose tonight. The lines between the living and the dead are thin, and spirits may walk the earth. See how people carve scary faces on pumpkins to frighten spirits away. One small turn of the wheel, one twirl of the dance brings us to Yule, the winter solstice, on or near December 21st, the shortest day of the year. On the longest, darkest night of the year, the goddess becomes the great mother and gives birth to the young sun god. Celebrate fertility and the perseverance of life with evergreens, holly, mistletoe, and pine trees, instructs the goddess. Light Yule logs and bonfires and sit with me throughout the night as you witness my labor to bring the sun back to the earth. Imbolc, February 2nd, comes next, a slow slide toward the light. Imbolc means in the milk. This is the time in Europe when sheep and cows begin to lactate to feed their young. Now the goddess is the mother, nursing the young sun god. The mother is honored when we cherish springs, wells, all underground sources of water that thaws as the days grow warmer. This is a day of purification, out with the old to make room for the new. Add a spring to your step as you dance toward Ostara, or the spring equinox, on or near March 21st. Here we find the young god comes to power. The goddess has rested and returned as the maiden, and brings her minions, the rabbits. Rabbits become mad as March hares as part of their mating season. Celebrate new life, spring forth like young spring lambs by coloring eggs for Ostara, the goddess of spring. Lovely Beltane, May 1st, promenades onto the scene. Young girls dancing around the maypole wear garlands in their hair. So too does the young goddess. She is in full bloom, just as the earth. No wonder the god discovers his love for her. Turn the wheel to Litha, that is midsummer or the summer solstice, on or near June 21st, when the god ascends to his highest power in the sky, and the goddess prepares to bring forth bounty on the earth. Celebrate the longest day of the year with bonfires. Sit around the bonfire, telling stories, and see if you can stay awake all night. Why? Because the veil between the worlds is thin again, and you might see fairy folk like Puck, Titania, or Oberon from Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. But be careful, these fae are the trickster kind. Any plants gathered today are especially potent. Now the wheel brings us 3 harvest festivals. The first is Lunasa on August 1st. In our story, the god, having peaked at the height of midsummer, knows it's time to rest and is voluntarily sacrificed to make the earth and the goddess fertile again. The goddess's crone oversees the ceremony. Bake young barley corn men and bread and make corn husk dolls. A pagan time of Thanksgiving comes next in the form of Maban, or harvest home, on or near September 21st. This is no surprise. It is the autumn equinox, and civilizations have been celebrating the harvest around this time since farming first began. Decorate your home with signs of the harvest. Slice harvest apples crosswise to reveal the pentagram inside. Plant bulbs for spring as you consider what changes you hope the next year will bring. But where are our god and goddess? The wheel returns to Samhain. The goddess carries the sleeping god. Her fertility and the god's death have brought forth the good harvest. The god that will be reborn rests within the earth until it is time for him to be born and for the eternal wheel to turn again.
Thank you, Lauren Getz, with special help from Susie.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
Please join me for a time of meditation, contemplation, and prayer on this summer day. Very much on our minds are women's rights and choice, the increasing prevalence of guns and their use in mass killing, as well as the potential threats of so many carrying concealed weapons, the lessening separation of church and state, and what we're learning of the previous US president's grasping to hold on to power after he was defeated in the election. As well, people close to us suffer from disease and other challenges in their lives and ours. They are on our minds and in our hearts. Our Unitarian Universalist Association is concluding another annual General Assembly, and some from our congregation are in attendance. May our church grow and show the best of liberal religion. For today's meditation, I bring Map of the Journey in Progress by Victoria E. Safford. Please listen and consider your places when you hear hers. Here is where I found my voice and chose to be brave. Here's a place where I forgave someone against my better judgment, and I survived that, and unexpectedly, amazingly, I became wiser. Here's where I was once forgiven, was ready for once in my life to receive forgiveness and to be transformed. And I survived that also. I lived to tell the tale. This is the place where I said no more loudly than I thought I ever could. And everybody stared. But I said no loudly anyway, because I knew it must be said. And those staring settled down into harmless, ineffective grumbling. And over me, they had no power anymore. Here's a time, and here's another, when I laid down my fear and walked right on into it, right up to my neck into that roiling water. Here's where cruelty taught me something. And here's where I was first astonished by gratuitous compassion and knew it for the miracle it was, the requirement it is. It was a trembling time. And here, much later, is where I returned the blessing clumsily. It wasn't hard, but I was unaccustomed. It cycled round, and as best I could, I sent it back on out, passed the gift along. This circular motion, around and around, has no apparent end. Here's a place, a murky puddle, where I have stumbled more than once and fallen. I don't know yet what to learn there. On this site, I was outraged, and the rage sustains me still. It clarifies my seeing. And here's where something caught me. A warm breeze in late winter, bird song in late summer. Here's where I was told that something was wrong with my eyes, that I see the world strangely. And here's where I said, yes, I know. I walk in beauty. Here is where I began to look with my own eyes and listen with my ears and sing my own song, shaky as it is. Here is where, if by surgeon's knife my heart was opened up, and here, and here, and here, and here. These are the landmarks of conversion. Let's observe 1 minute of silence.
Of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me
I share this morning this responsive reading, which you will be able to follow on the screen, entitled UU Principles and Disability by Michael Dashline. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. We believe in justice, equity, compassion in human relations. We believe in acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregation. We believe in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning.
How much more we will learn if we share our search with travelers who set a different pace, see from a different perspective, or understand with a different wisdom.
We believe in the right of conscience and the use of our human relations in the democratic process within the congregation and in society at large.
For all to have a voice, we need many ways of expression, and we need many ways to listen.
We believe in the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all.
Just as peace means no violence, and liberty means no oppression, and justice means no prejudice, all means no exceptions.
And we believe in the respect for the independent web of all existence of which we are a part.
We gain strength from the support of others, and we grow stronger as we support others. Together, we can weave our values into an ever stronger web of existence.
In a few ways, we're experiencing dark days right now. That does not prevent us from having a splash of color. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Maybe you shouldn't express favorites about guiding principles, but this fourth principle of Unitarian Universalism is my favorite. That's because of my background being focused so much on truth and meaning, that I've been a seeker both in the real world as a reader, a viewer, a curious person, and in my theology, raised as a Christian, choosing to be unchurched for a time, trying Christianity again, and then finding humanism and a church home within Unitarian Universalism and its respect for world religions and the individual search. In my life, I've been a librarian, a journalist, a fact checker, a scholar, and more, all bringing the importance of truth and meaning, of trying to look in many places for information. And I try to support other people's searching, sometimes making particular recommendations and other times suggesting where someone might better look to find answers closer to truth and meaning. I try to be non-judgmental, but I also have solid ideas in a few categories about what's a good resource and what's just people giving their own poorly grounded opinions. I've learned to keep my mouth shut behind my mask around some people when the topic of vaccination for COVID-19 protection comes up, for example. But I still advocate that people get the vaccine. And because of my health procedures, I had to start over, and I got another vaccination on Friday. The fourth principle is also my favorite because of the free and responsible phrase. Free in being able to look in as many places as might apply in your search. Not just an approved religious text, not only in reference sources, but everywhere. You can find truth and meaning in children's books and poetry, in movies and television shows, whether fiction, documentary, or the so-called reality form. Yes, in dictionaries, encyclopedias, and gazetteers, as well as other reference sources. And of course, in conversation and direct experience. Free means everything is open to exploration. Responsible means that credibility must be considered. Yes, the internet with social media is a place for truth and meaning, but it also has a lot that is wrong, and sites and pages that claim truth but are very selective. Maybe you saw a cartoon on Facebook in which a man sitting at his computer at home tells his partner, "Honey, come look. I've found some information all the world's top scientists and doctors missed." I guess it can happen, but it's not common. Because something you see, read, or hear makes a claim that you've never thought about, even if it's from a person who has developed a reputation for answering questions in ways not previously addressed, that doesn't make it true. So be responsible in evaluating your resources. I know the world changes quickly and we try to grasp so it doesn't get away from us, but responsibility is important. The word responsible in this principle is not always given enough attention. Some people say that Unitarian Universalists can believe anything they want to believe, and that is not true. That statement of anything you want ignores the responsibility in searching for truth and meaning. One of my seminary professors, David Bumbaugh, who was an intern in this congregation in 1963, coming up on 60 years ago, said that you believe what you must. And he supplied 3 questions to guide. What do we believe? Whom do we serve? And to whom or what are we responsible? Sometimes I add, where is the divine in this? With my own consideration of divinity not being supernatural or God attached. Being responsible. Many people believe what I don't. I can't dismiss them. The kind, compassionate, charitable thing to do is respect their beliefs and hope that their search was at least responsible, not disparaging their inherent worth and dignity. People in many places don't have the freedom to look for inspiration, for greater knowledge, for revelation. But they can ask questions and look as deep into their available resources as they can. Now, this fourth principle also applies to today's 4 big national stories of the moment. The Supreme Court's decision revoking the right to abortion, The Supreme Court's decision to make it easier to carry concealed weapons in combination with the overwhelming number of mass shootings and killings, in large part because of the easy availability of assault-style rifles modeled on military weapons. The Supreme Court's making it easier to have public funds pay for religion-oriented schooling rather than directing taxpayer money to public education. Yes, it's the time of year, the end of the court's session, when most decisions are released. And the House of Representatives investigation of the January 6th attempted coup to keep Donald Trump in power. These four things, limiting human rights, increasing the risk of being shot, easing religion's involvement in and possible reduction of secular civics, and what's coming to be called government by minority with authoritarian positioning, are examples that different people see truth and meaning differently. And in our realization that there's not always just one truth. Consider that old story about different people describing an elephant based only on the part they're next to, explaining perspective. Sometimes we have to move deliberately to share and anchor the truths we hold. That seems especially so for social justice, that we must give great attention to bringing people together so that by sharing, we arrive at common truth and meaning. There are times we don't want to know this. How do we live together when we believe so differently? How do we make our truths the ones we live by without interference from people who aren't comfortable with such free responsibility? One way is we gather together, share our Unitarian Universalist approach. Another is being compassionate, so important, so others might better respect us in return. Our principles aren't just words on paper or from long ago that we recite by rote as if any of us has them memorized. They're living, and they can be revised when needed. There's a Unitarian Universalist Study Commission active right now that's considering changes to the principles and to our 6 sources of our living tradition. The sources can be examined when we consider real life issues. Today, we consider choice and abortion, guns and their use, church and state separation, and power and government. Truth and meaning both are and aren't abstract concepts. We have truth, but we know that with more discovery, truth can change. That's what happens with science, with exploration, with a free and responsible search. The earth isn't the center of the universe, and some people we know, regardless of their thinking the world revolves around them, are as lost in space as we sometimes are. Let your beliefs, your whole life, be the result of a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. So be it.
We now come to the time of our offering, and I would direct your attention to the screen, which will be giving some of the many ways that we can contribute to the support of this church. First of all, you can go to uutoledo.org, click on Give, and then click on the online giving. First Unitarian Church of Toledo, 3205 Glendale Ave, Toledo, Ohio, 43604. Of course, we can send donations to the church at our address. I know there is going to be a basket outside the church doors. When you leave, you can certainly drop loose offerings in that basket. It'd be greatly appreciated. And now coming soon.
So next week at our 9:45 a.m. Spiritual Adventures Forum, I'm not sure what the topic will be, but we will have a 9:45 session as usual. Come and find out. And next week at our 11 a.m. Sunday service, all people need a voice on the fifth Unitarian Universalist principle.
And a reminder for those of you who are not aware, today, directly after the service, down our hallway in Fellowship Hall, we will have our coffee hour and social time. And just again, to remind everybody that at 12:30 p.m., we will convene here back in the sanctuary, where there will be a live stream of the Unitarian Universalist General Assembly Sunday service.
Now, Joe has the closing word.
All right. All right. So these closing words try to love the questions themselves by Rainier Maria Rilke, and it's translated by Stephen Mitchell. Have patience with everything unsolved, unresolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers, which could not be given to you now. All right, 71. Because you would not be able to find them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday, far off in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way unto the answer.
As we send the flame of our chalice into the community, let it represent light by which we learn truth and meaning, lighting the pages we read, the screens we view, and the people who teach and learn with us.
Around for freedom, circle for ease, for all of us in prison, circle for relief, circle round the planet, circle for each soul, for all children and not children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned. Circle for release. Circle round the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole.